Hey everybody, and welcome to our very brief lecture on tips on how to be a good leader. I say lecture in quotes here because it's actually not really going to be a lecture from me. It's actually going to be material delivered by a guy named Simon Sinek, or Sinek. I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce his last name. And what it is it's a video that he gives to an audience about this book that you see over there on the left, Leaders Eat Last. And his presentations are so good. He's a fantastic speaker. That rather than have me attempt to do what he does so well on my own, I would prefer for you to watch the videos yourself. He's got all sorts of great lecturing styles that he incorporates. He tells stories that are connected directly to the content that he's trying to discuss. The first video is the main video that I would like you to watch. It's 45 minutes long, which is pretty long for me to expect you to watch a video. So that's why I'm not going to hardly talk about this at all and leave it to him to discuss. There's an alternate version right here that I want to just briefly mention. It is shorter, but it doesn't have as much of the impact that the first one does. But I introduce it there because of something interesting that's inside of the video itself, and that's the accent that he uses to deliver the lecture. He uses a British accent. And in the first one, he uses an American accent or non-British accent. I don't know what you would call it. And it has a lot to do with a topic called code switching. It's fascinating, and I never really knew that this was a thing until I watched this and happened to read the comments. Check out that link right there in Wikipedia. By the way, clicking on all these links is obviously not going to work in this video, but it will work if you pull up the PowerPoint. So if you don't want to have to type in that huge, long, obnoxious string over there, it's perfectly fine. Just open up the PowerPoint and click on the link there. Finally, I included one more lecture down here at the bottom from Microsoft Research. All these places are basically different organizations that invited him to speak about his book. And he gives roughly the same lecture for all of them, but I like the first one of the three. I like it the best. Yeah, so with that, the rest of the PowerPoint slides are basically things that I learned. All right. And I'm not going to spend really any time going over these things in any detail. I just want to touch mostly on this first one, which is a quote from the video that talks about the fact that the military gives out medals to those people who are willing to sacrifice themselves for others. Businesses, on the other hand, give bonuses to those who are willing to sacrifice others for their own gain. We have it backwards. And it turns out a lot of the content from these videos and from the book is inspired by the way that the military treats leadership, in particular the Marines. And one of the big things that you see in the Marines is that their leaders eat last. All right, they let the group of people that sit underneath a leader, whatever you want to call them, a battalion, a platoon, I don't know what the military terminology is, but they eat first and then the leader eats when they're done. And that little statement of leaders eat last says a lot. Okay, and so there's a lot of stories that are incorporated into these talks. The first one starts out with a story, which is really, really powerful. So anyways, I'm going to leave it to y'all to watch those videos. And then when you're done, go through all of these things that I learned. These are the things that I felt had a lot of impact. I'm sure that all of you will find other things that are very impactful from this video. These are just the things that I happen to find really interesting. In particular, he talks about 4 chemicals that are present in the human body that are responsible for producing what he calls happiness. And it's in quotes because it's not like, it's kind of hard to define happiness, especially in terms of chemicals. But he talks about what endorphins are, what dopamine is, what serotonin is, and what oxytocin is. And then he finishes it up with a discussion of what cortisol is, which, by the way, is not a happy chemical. All right, it's a chemical that you want to try to keep out of your body. It's a chemical that comes from stress. All right, so watch the videos. They're fantastic. Watch the first one or all of them, or the first one and the second one, whatever. Just watch the first one. That's the good one. And then take some time afterwards to just go through and match up the things that I personally learned about the video with what you may have learned from the video. And if there's anything that you found super interesting that I completely missed, shoot it to me in an email and I'll add it in for future semesters. Okay, so that's all I got for today. I went a little over 5 minutes. Hopefully that's short enough. Talk to you later. See you next time. Bye.